Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our January 11th, 2022. I've got to get used to saying 2022. Madison County Fiscal Court meeting. Happy New Year to everyone. Appreciate everybody being here in attendance. This time I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, please call the roll.
Master Robinson. Here. Master Barger.
Here.
Master Tudor.
Here.
Master Buck.
Present.
Judge Taylor.
Here. At this time, I'm going to invite our Master of our 2nd District, Roger Barger, to lead us in a word of prayer. Thanks, Roger.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for giving us the opportunity to come together and, as a court and try to make the decisions that you see fit for our county. We just ask that you help each and every one of us to make the decisions that we think is right. Father, we ask for you to be with the sick and the burdened. Put your hand upon them and just see that they can overcome whatever burden they have. Father, I ask these things in the precious name of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Rod. Sheriff, if you will, lead us in the pledge.
If everyone please rise, face our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thanks, Sheriff. Members of the court, y'all have had a chance to look over our meeting minutes from our December the 14th, 2021 Madison County Fiscal Court meeting. This time I need a motion and a second to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Robinson.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Tudor.
Yes.
Master Buck.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Our treasurer's report is always at our 4th Tuesday of the month meeting. Today, first order of business is a proclamation of Madison County School Board recognition, and we have some of our school board and our superintendent, assistant superintendent with us today, which is always a pleasure. This is our annual yearly thing that we do in January, and today I'm going to read a proclamation that anybody that would like to come up to the mic, feel free to do so. Whereas our community values a quality education as a vital step along the pathway to success for our children, and whereas Beth Brock, Samantha Burford, Lori Cobb, Becky Cole, and Brandon Rutherford contribute greatly to this community through their service on the Madison County Board of Education. And whereas these decision makers are responsible for maintaining strong, effective budgetary oversight, high standards for employment, and a safe, well-managed set of school facilities. And whereas these board members are serving our community with integrity, honor, and a commitment to our children's futures. And whereas January 2022 marks Kentucky's observation of their contributions through School Board Recognition Month. Now therefore, I, Reagan Taylor, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2022 throughout this community as School Board Recognition Month, and urge all citizens to honor Beth Brock, Samantha Burford, Lori Cobb, Becky Cole, and Brandon Rutherford for their service. Thank you all. So nobody get up at one time, but
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it on behalf of the school board. They have done a tremendous job. Especially the last couple of years have been very tough and challenging, but they've done a great job of looking after this community, looking after the needs, and specifically a couple of things that I will highlight that this board is focused on. Obviously, keeping our kids safe, keeping our kids in school, but also economic development within the county. I think you all know everyone here is aware of this board's commitment and investment in workforce development with our 2 career tech centers, one in Berea and one in Richmond. Those new facilities, over a $35 million investment in workforce development right here in the county, and on top of that, all of the other things that they do to keep our school system in good shape. So we appreciate that. We certainly appreciate the recognition, and on behalf of the board, I applaud them and their work as well. Thank you.
absolutely, that's good. I'd like to present y'all. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Master Bakken to make a presentation for Kentucky Colonel Commissioning.
Judge, I'm going to ask Jeff Renner, I see him in the court, to just meet me over here at the podium. Well, Jeff, good morning. Judge, there's a lot of times that as magistrates and members of the fiscal court, we don't get to do things that are very popular, but yet we're paid to make tough decisions and tough choices. Today's not one of those times. Today, at this instant anyway, is an opportunity that I'm very happy to get to do, and that's to present Jeff Renner with the commission as Kentucky Colonel. A lot of people don't know, but in 1776, the first colonel, John Bowman, was commissioned by Governor Patrick Henry in Virginia, and his job at that point in time was to colonize the Kentucky counties. Only the governor, Andy Beshear, or acting governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, can commission a Kentucky colonel with the honorable title. It's an official act, and it's also signed by the Secretary of State and registered in the state archives. The Kentucky Colonel Commission, fogging up my glasses, Madison, gotta go. The Kentucky Colonel Commission is bestowed honorary by the governor upon a person for performing a good deed, saving a life, a heroic act, bringing attention to the state, demonstrating great moral character, civil service, starting a business, being recognized, performing local voluntary activities in your community that are considered noteworthy. Kentucky Colonel is the highest honor that's bestowed by the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And in common law, the Kentucky Colonel Commission can be very beneficial to its recipients and used throughout the world. The United States in 1775, since 1775, there's been no greater civil title or honor recognized than the colonel. And once conferred, the honorable title and recipient is granted all the duties and privileges of the office of Kentucky Colonelcy. So, Jeff Renner, I've known for quite a few years now, and Jeff is in my opinion, the example of Kentucky Colonel. Jeff has done a lot of things in the community where he lives down in Kirksville. He volunteers. Jeff does a lot of civic things. He's part of our Madison County Ethics Board and was happy to step up and do that whenever that I spoke to Jeff about taking that office. One of the greatest things that goes unrecognized is Jeff's work as a Good Samaritan. Jeff's been a member of his community down there for around 30 years. And Jeff lives at the worst intersection in the state of Kentucky. Jeff lives at the corner of 1295 and 595. It's a horrible place for accidents, and it's some kind of a dead zone where vehicles just break down all the time, and Jeff is one of the first to come out and render assistance to those folks. I know that he's taken people home, giving rides as far as Bardstown. I mean, and there's hundreds of instances of that. I won't try to tell all of that, but Jeff, I just wanted to present this award signed by Governor Andy Beshear, and it's for the Honorable Jeffrey Victor Renner, and you are officially commissioned as a Kentucky Colonel, signed by Andy Beshear and Michael Adams, Secretary of State.
Thanks, Tom.
We'll let you go.
Wow, this is a great honor. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that, Judge, members. I really didn't prepare for to speak, but anyway, I just want to thank everybody. It's our civic duty to help out our neighbors and make our communities more prosperous and everything. So I didn't do anything that anyone else, I don't think, would do, living on that corner that Tom talks about. But anyway, thanks to everyone. Appreciate that. It's an honor. It really is. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, Jeff.
Right here, we'll take a picture.
Thanks again, Jeff. Appreciate your service to the community. Yep. Next on our agenda is the second reading of Ordinance 2021-19. This is a zone change, 3506 Lexington Road.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning, Bert.
Morning.
This is a second reading, as the judge said, for a zone change at 3506 Lexington Road, Richmond, Kentucky. Authorizing the amendment of the official zoning map of Madison County, Kentucky. I won't read the whole ordinance again, but I will remind the court of the findings of fact that the Planning Commission made at their public hearing on Tuesday, November the 16th. This is a zone change from UC7 agriculture to UC1 single-family residential. The findings of facts were that proper notification of this hearing was given pursuant to KRS 100.212 and KRS 424.130. Number two, there have been major changes of an economic, physical, and social nature within the area, which are anticipated in the adopted comprehensive plan. Number three, that the requested zone change to UC1 will be in conformity with the existing use and development of other property near the subject property and is appropriate. And number four, that the requested UC1 zoning classification is consistent with the current comprehensive plan, given the proximity of this property with I-75 and the capacity of the major roads in this area to accommodate commercial levels of traffic. This was a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission to the court to approve this zone change.
Thank you, Bert. Do I have a motion and a second to approve second reading of Ordinance 2021-19?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Judge, I don't know if you've had any calls, but my office hadn't had any calls about this
Right.
since the first reading.
Second readings are public hearings. They are advertised, so anybody here that is in person in court and would like to speak on behalf of this zone change, feel free to come up and come to the mic at this time.
Judge Stuart Olds, I'm here on behalf of the applicants. I don't know that there's a whole lot to be said about this. I suspect everybody knows where this farm is located. It is in your urban corridor, so it is in the area where your comprehensive plan directs that this type of development should occur. We've submitted letters from Elliott Turner saying that there's more than sufficient capacity for this development to be on sewer and water and be appropriate. It has good access to 75. It's on 25 north, probably more than halfway between the Boonesboro exit and the Clays Ferry exit, where there's a couple other developments out in that area. Don't know that there's a whole lot more I can say about it. Be glad to ask any questions anybody might have about what we propose.
Thank you, Stuart. Any questions at this time from the court members? No other public comment at this time? All right, we have a motion and a second. If there's no more discussion, call the roll.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Buchan,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you all.
And Jeff, I thank you for your investment in our community. This isn't your first development. Really appreciate the job that you do, and look forward to your project here. All right, next is Resolution 2022-01, Madison County Clerk's 2022 budget. Whereas the Madison County Clerk presented the Fiscal Court with the 2022 budget, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve the Madison County Clerk's budget annually. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve the Madison County Clerk's 2022 budget and authorizes the Judge Executive to execute same on behalf of the county. Do I have a motion and a second to approve
So moved.
the clerk's 2022 budget?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Kenny, would you like to say anything about your
Yeah, I'll
budget?
just go through quickly here, kind of the same thing I say every year. This budget is not actual, a real budget. We have to, our expenditures must meet the receipts. And that doesn't ever happen. We are always under on our disbursements.
for everything, and most of this budget's $27,486,000. Most of that money is passed through. We collect taxes, pass those on to districts, and we collect commissions and fees to keep our office running. The only thing I control in the budget is our salaries, office expenses, and equipment, and we've kept that down. I was surprised when I asked for this number preparing to present today that as of the end of December, in our excess fees account, there's $2.1 million in that excess fees account, and we've got a year to go on this term before we hand that over. So I anticipate we'll be over $3 million in that excess fees account, and last term it was $900,000. So and that's on top of the money that we return in the 25% quarterly to the fiscal court. Last year, we returned $808,000 to the fiscal court in the 25%. So we're looking, $500,000 or better return to the court over the last term. And I say that there's several things that go into that. We run a very efficient office. I have folks that I work with every day that I'm blessed beyond deserving to work with, and we've set, I've been here going on over 11 years, and we've set policies and set things in place and kept that going, and it's adhered to, and folks understand it. We run the most cost-effective and customer-focused office in the state. We do everything we can with the dollars we're given. We want to return back as much as we can to the fiscal court, and we also want to provide the best customer service possible in our office. And the folks I work with every day are doing that day in and day out, and it's fantastic. And I really appreciate them. And I appreciate this court allowing us to do what we do. But I'll answer any questions if anybody's got about the budget or expenditures. The only thing that's going to be different about that is the relocation of our office. That's going to be a little different. It's going to cause that number to go down. We're going to be spending some more money, but it's necessary to do the remodel of the courthouse.
Yeah. Thank you, Kenny. Thanks for the job you do. Court members, do you have any comments?
Judge, I'd just like to tell Kenny, I appreciate his service and his efficiency in his office, and not every clerk's office in the state returns money to their fiscal court, and we appreciate it every bit that you are saving our county by doing that.
Thank you.
And thank you for all your employees for the good job they're doing. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to make, one public comment as well. I had the opportunity, and I told Kenny this before the meeting, I had the opportunity to go up to Frankfurt to the Secretary of State's office. And I can tell you that, Kenny and his staff are well respected in the Kentucky State Department, and spoke very highly of Kenny and his staff and the work that they do down here in Madison County. And I think that, we should be blessed, to have such a good county clerk in Kenny Barger. So thank you and your staff for your hard work and dedication.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's good. Good words, Ben. Any other comments? Your uncle knows the real you, so he's gonna stay quiet.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
he doesn't want to tell any lies.
Yeah.
I'll hold my peace.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. Clerk, call the roll.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Botkin,
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next is Resolution 2022-02. It's a resolution for the Madison County Fiscal Court to approve the Madison County Sheriff's 2022 budget. Whereas the Madison County Sheriff presented the fiscal court with the 2022 budget, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve the Madison County Sheriff's budget annually. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve the Madison County Sheriff's 2022 budget and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Sheriff's budget?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. At this time, Sheriff, would you like to go over your budget?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank this court for your all's continued support each and every year that the last 10 years that I've been in office or been at the Madison County Sheriff's Office. Public safety, especially in these times, is very well, as you know, it's a necessity that we have to have. And the men and women of the Madison County Sheriff's Office, I'm very proud to say that with the money that we receive from our fees that come in every day, each year, and the support that we get from this court, we're able to well train and put our people out, and as Major Terry has said numerous times before, we put a good product out, and that's kind of what we do each and every day. You know, with our tornado sending people down to assist as a county, that, you know, we recognize that someone would help us and we help them. We're just fortunate enough to be a big enough county and have the people that we can make a schedule to protect and serve our people when some of these needs come up. But I do want to thank the court again. This budget that we put forth and presented to you all is a much needed budget. It's touched a little of everything that we have in all of our line items that we bring forth, where it's vehicle maintenance, where it's fuel, right on down the line. We can't control what the costs are, but we are good stewards of the taxpayers' money. We watch every dime that goes out. We're in a business to protect and serve, and I think that this budget that you all are assisting us on today is going to help us in the future retain our folks that we have, the men and women that work at the Madison County Sheriff's Office, so we can go forward in our main service, so that's protecting the people of Madison County. So once again, I want to thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any questions from the court members?
I don't have a question, Judge, but just like to make a quick comment. You know, we've said this before in court, and this year we are supplementing the sheriff's budget by $1.6 million, and we're very thankful to have the deputies that we have over there. I've said this before many times. I see them out in public all the time. They're always very professional. They're always very courteous. They're always doing the things that unfortunately they shouldn't have to be doing, but because of the lack of state police in the state of Kentucky, they are picking up slack. You know, they're doing the keeping our citizens safe. They're doing the war on drugs. You know, that's just a big, huge expense that we shouldn't have to pay for, but unfortunately we do. And Sheriff Cole, we appreciate everything you do for us, and we appreciate your men and the things that they do for us to keep our community safe.
Thank you.
Sheriff, do you know how many troopers that we have that work in Madison County right now?
I'm sorry, Judge.
How many troopers? How many?
I think there's 7.
7? 7. So if with 7 state troopers working Madison County, that equates down to about 1.2 troopers per shift. If you had 3 shifts a day, 7 days a week. So 1.2 troopers per shift. And if you go back 10 years ago, there was probably
12,
14. And so as our
That's just work in Madison.
That's just working Madison County, right? Yeah, there's more than that out of districts or post 7, but they're working other counties. And 10 years ago, the sheriff or the fiscal court wasn't subsidizing the sheriff's budget due to, at that point, the sheriff wasn't really doing law enforcement because there wasn't a need, because state police was doing what their responsibility is policing our county. So times have changed a little bit in making sure. And I'm glad that I can help support and protect our community. I'm glad to be able to sit here and support law enforcement and to make sure that that my family, everybody's family, is safe. It's unfortunate sometimes that decisions that are made at the state level affect us, and I've had this conversation many times. It's kind of like an unfunded mandate that comes down to our fiscal court because there is not a revenue stream that is set aside for the law enforcement portion. You know, the 3 duties that the sheriff constitutionally does is court security, which there is a reimbursement, there is revenue that comes in for that. Serving papers, there is a revenue, and collecting taxes, which there is a revenue. There is not for law enforcement. And this extra funds that we're giving him is going towards that law enforcement portion. What would we do as a community if this court said that's not our responsibility, and the state police only had 1.2 troopers per shift, and that's no vacations, that's no sick? What would we do? So thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. Anything else?
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Judge, I'd just like to say I appreciate Sheriff Cole, and you cannot drive from Richmond to Berea without seeing one or two deputy sheriffs out on the road. You cannot drive hardly any county road that within 10 minutes you don't see a patrol car. And Sheriff Cole does a great job patrolling the county. Every now and then I get a call that we need another officer out this way or that way, and I'll call Sheriff Cole, and he'll see that happens. So I appreciate what you do, Sheriff.
Thank you.
We do have a motion and a second. No more discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Botkin,
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next, Resolution 2022-03, a resolution for the appointment of the Madison County Fiscal Court to the Madison County Public Library Board. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the appointment of Madison County Public Library Board members, and whereas a vacancy on the Madison County Public Library Board is open, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has found Gus LaFontaine is fit for the position as a board member of the Madison County Public Library Board of Directors. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve Gus LaFontaine as a Madison County Public Library Board member. I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2022-03.
Move to approve Resolution 2022-03.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Botkin,
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. And just for the court's awareness, this appointment is until December 31st, 2025, so just as a FYI. Next is Resolution 2022-04. It's another Madison County Library Board appointment, a resolution for the appointment of the Madison County Fiscal Court to the Madison County Public Library Board, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the appointment of Madison County Public Library Board members, and whereas a vacancy on the Madison County Public Library Board is open, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has found Jackie Couture as fit for the position as a board member of the Madison County Public Library Board of Directors. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve Jackie Couture as a Madison County Public Library Board member. Do I have a motion and a second for Resolution 2022-04?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Again, this appointment is the same. It goes through December 31st, 2025. Hearing no discussion, call the roll.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Botkin,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next, we have Resolution 2022-05. This is the ASAP Harm Reduction Grant Application, fiscal year 22. A resolution confirming the Madison County Fiscal Court to serve as the applicant agent for the fiscal year 22 ASAP Harm Reduction Grant and authorizing the judge executive to sign on behalf of the county. Whereas the Madison County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy Board wishes to apply for the fiscal year 2022 ASAP Harm Reduction Grant through the Kentucky ASAP. And whereas the ASAP Board needs a local government to serve as its applicant agent, and whereas the Fiscal Court finds it to be the public's best interest to continue to address our drug epidemic through education and awareness. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve to serve as the applicant agent and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve Resolution 2205, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. We do have Laura Nagel with us. Laura, do you want to say anything today? We have a motion and a second. Fiscal Court has any comments? Appreciate you being here today, Laura. Thanks for chairing our ASAP board.
We just want to say thank you again for having our backs since 2002. You all have been our fiscal agent since 2002. So if anyone ever has any questions about the work of ASAP, I'm easy to get a hold of, and I'd love to talk to you more about it.
Thanks, Laura. I think this is about a $20,000 grant. Isn't that correct? Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. All right, any comments? Any court members? All right, seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Botkin.
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thanks, Laura. Appreciate what you do. I'm really appreciative of the ASAP board. Next is Resolution 2022-06. This is the interim circuit court building architect contract. A resolution to enter into a contractual agreement between Integrity Architecture, PLLC, and Madison County Fiscal Court. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court desires to enter into a contractual agreement between Integrity Architecture, PLLC, and Madison County Fiscal Court owner. And whereas this agreement is for the Madison County Temporary Court Facility Renovation Project. And whereas the Madison County Temporary Court Facility Renovation Project is a renovation of the existing facility located at 116 West Main Street, Richmond, Kentucky, for the temporary use of the Madison County Circuit Court staff while the existing Madison County Courthouse is being renovated. And whereas the architect shall provide architectural services for the project as described in the agreement attached hereto. And whereas the architect shall assist the owner in determining consulting services required for the project. And whereas this agreement supersedes all previous contracts and/or agreements between Integrity Architecture, PLLC, and Madison County Fiscal Court for the temporary court facility renovation project. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve to enter into this agreement and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county to go into effect retroactively December 10th, 2021. Do I have a motion and a second for Resolution 2022-06?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Any questions?
Judge, this is a renovation of the existing courthouse to make it available for 2 courtrooms to operate at one time. It's very much needed. Our court systems are so backed up that with the pandemic, it's going to be awful difficult to get caught back up. And this is something we've worked on and planned on for about 4 or 5 years now, and it's, you know, it's time to move forward with it. So I approve this resolution.
Yeah, I guess the sort of the structure of this whole construction process has changed a little bit since we started on this back in 2018. In last session, when we got the courthouse renovation project as a capital project, the AOC, the contract on the courthouse itself is through the AOC with the architect and the construction manager. But on the temporary space, that is with us. And so our previous contract was different because at that time it wasn't a capital project, which it is now. All this temporary space and renovation of the West Main property is reimbursed to us. So AOC is paying for the whole project, but this contract's directly with us. Okay. So, any other questions? Any comments? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Botkin.
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Resolution 2022-07, this is basically the same thing, but this contract is with the construction manager. A resolution to enter into a contractual agreement between D.W. Wilburn, Inc. and Madison County Fiscal Court. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court desires to enter into a contractual agreement between D.W. Wilburn, Inc., construction manager, and the Madison County Fiscal Court owner. And whereas this agreement is for the Madison County Temporary Court Facility Renovation Project, and whereas the Madison County Temporary Court Facility Renovation Project is a renovation of the existing facility located at 116 West Main Street, Richmond, Kentucky, for the temporary use of the Madison County Circuit Court staff while the existing Madison County Courthouse is being renovated. And whereas the construction manager agrees to furnish sufficient construction administration management services and supervision, as well as perform the work in an expeditious and economical manner consistent with the owner's interests for the project as described in the agreement attached hereto. And whereas the owner and construction manager may agree in consultation with the architect for the construction phase to commence prior to completion of the pre-construction phase, in which case both phases will proceed concurrently. And whereas the construction manager shall identify a representative authorized to act on behalf of the construction manager with respect to the project. And whereas this agreement supersedes all previous contracts and/or agreements between D.W. Wilburn, Inc. and Madison County Fiscal Court for the temporary court facility renovation project. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve to enter into this agreement and authorize the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county to go into effect retroactively December 10th, 2021.
Motion to approve resolution 22-07, Judge.
Thank you all. Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I mean, this is obviously the same discussion we had just a few minutes ago, other than this is for the construction manager, not the architect. Seeing no discussion, call the roll.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Resolution 2022-08, this is to donate surplus vehicle to Graves County Fiscal Court. A resolution for the Madison County Fiscal Court to approve the donation of a detention center surplus vehicle to Graves County Fiscal Court, Kentucky. Whereas Western Kentucky was impacted by devastating tornadoes in December of 2021, and whereas the tornado damage left the Graves County Detention Center with the inability to transport inmates in neighboring counties, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court wishes to donate a 2008 Ford Crown Victoria Detention Center surplus vehicle with the VIN number to the Graves County Fiscal Court, Kentucky. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorize the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county. Do I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2022-08?
Make a motion to approve 2022-08.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? I will say that Steve had gotten a call from, I think, the jailer in Graves County, wasn't it, Steve? And as everyone knows, and I'm sure saw pictures of the devastation to the Graves County Detention Center. I think you told me, Steve, that they didn't have one crew, they didn't have a transport vehicle because
No.
the jail was right next to.
The jail, as everybody saw in the news, the jail was actually a part of, on the back of the courthouse, was totally destroyed with all of their detention vehicles. And now, with relocating inmates, they got inmates in 8 other counties. So we had the good fortune of having surplus vehicles, thanks to the sheriff and to RPD for giving me some of their older vehicles. And I just wanted to pass one on to them.
Yep. Thank you. Any comments?
Just like to say, thank you, Steve, for stepping up and repaying the good deeds, because we're all in this together and never know when we're gonna need a little help along the way. So this is a good effort on your part. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, seeing no more comments, call the roll.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Steve. Next is personnel in the fire department. Chief, good morning.
I'm here today to promote David Rhodes from a part-time firefighter to a firefighter 1, salary of $7.50 an hour, effective 1/19/2022.
All right, do I have a motion and a second upon the chief's recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do you have any discussion? All right, seeing none, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Hey, Chief, how's our program's working pretty good having these part-time, correct? It allows us to fill these positions for
Yes.
full-time a lot quicker, correct?
Yes, yes. We actually have two that'll be leaving, going to the city of Richmond next week, and this backfills one of those positions.
Okay, that's good.
But
So,
that's where we're at.
and we're getting
Appreciate it.
participation in this program. That's sort of the part-time program, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good.
Thank you.
Good job. Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Next, we got personnel in the road department. Scott Shepherd. You've had a good past week.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've actually got 3 different people I'd like to bring before you today. The first one is Dewey Robinson. He's here with us today. I'd like to ask to hire him as a seasonal snow removal driver, and starting salary would be $20 per hour, and the start date be effective tomorrow.
Motion approved Dewey Robinson, Judge, for seasonal snow removal at $20 an hour beginning on 1/12/2022.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Botkin,
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thank you, Dewey. Appreciate
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming aboard with us.
Next person I'd like to recommend is Brandon Robinson, and I wish to hire him as a full-time road department truck driver trainee. Proposed salary $12 an hour, and start date 1/12/2022, and he is with us today.
Good.
Make a motion to hire Brandon Robinson.
Second.
Second that.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Botkin,
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thank you, Brandon. Look forward to working with you.
Our next applicant could not be with us today, but I'm sure everyone's familiar with him. He's worked with us before, is Shelby Dunnigan. I'd like to recommend to hire him as a seasonal snow truck removal driver, starting $20 an hour, and his begin date will be tomorrow, 1/12/2022.
All right. Do I have a motion and a second upon Scott's recommendation?
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to hire Shelby Dunnigan as a part-time CDL driver,
Seasonal.
seasonal driver at $20 an hour. Start date tomorrow.
Second.
All right. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Botkin,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Next, the judge's report. Do have a few announcements. Do want to have a little bit of discussion. Obviously, we've had a challenging past week. I think it started, Saturday for a tornado, or 2 Saturdays ago, I guess, for a tornado, then went into some snow, some flooding, a little bit of ice, and so we've had a challenging last week or so, and want to thank our road department. Glad we were able to serve the way that we were. We got a lot of positive feedback of our county routes, and keeping those cleaned off. I'm very appreciative of that. I do want to take a moment too to talk about the tornado that hit the Union City area. I think it had a little bit of remnants of it there around Wilderness Trail, around Cottle and Glen Marshall Elementary, and then went on to Union City. I want Scott just to brief the court a little bit in the community on our cleanup, debris pickup, and just make us aware of that program and what we're doing and the response that we've gotten.
Okay, I've received a phone call from Judge Taylor, and we wanted to help, wanted to, come up with an idea of what we could do for everybody. I think Mr. Tudor was very active in that suggestion. But we are going to pick up any tree debris that is in people's resident yards. If they'll bring it to the curb, we're going to offer pickup service between now and the end of January. Just call our office at 859-624-4739. We'll put you on a schedule, let you know what day we're going to be out, and we'll dispose of all your tree removal. It can only be natural vegetation, trees, tree trunks, limbs. We cannot take any solid metals or anything like that. But I just thought this would be a way for us to help out and take a little bit of burden off everybody at a trying time.
Scott, and this is for certain roads in the area, correct? Or in
Yes,
that area?
yes, any roads around the Union City area, just call us and we'll work with you. And, it's all the information's on our website, so just go to our website and you can find out all the details.
And calls started yesterday. We could have started yesterday, correct? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
We've not received any calls yet, so make sure if you plan on us picking it up for you, go ahead and call us. Let's get it on the schedule, and that way we can plan to have staff ready when you're ready.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Just going to make a few announcements. Madison County is proud to welcome back the Kentucky Boys and Girls All-A Classic, the basketball tournament, high school basketball tournament for all of our Class A schools. This year's tournament will be Wednesday, January the 26th through Sunday, January the 30th at Eastern Kentucky University's Alumni Coliseum. Please do remember there is high traffic when this tournament does come to town, but we're so thankful that they choose Richmond, Madison County to come to host this tournament. There will be times on the bypass where it can be a little congested. If your child is wanting to play soccer in Madison County Youth Soccer Program this year, please visit musasoccer.com to register or for more information. A deadline to register is January the 31st. Richmond Little League's 2022 registration is also now open. Please visit richmondlittleleague.info to register online or in person. Sign-ups will be Sunday, January the 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Richmond Mall. Berea's commemoration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is in its final planning stages. Please see Berea College's website or local media for their definite plans. Also, the Richmond chapter of the NAACP is hosting a March for the Homeless on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday, January the 17th. Staging and lineup will begin at 2 p.m. In Richmond's First Christian Church parking lot at the corner of West Main Street and Lancaster Avenue, with the march beginning at 3. Participants are asked to wear a mask. The organizers request those participating in the March for the Homeless bring some type of clothing item to be shared with the homeless in our area, such as a sweatshirt, long underwear, coats, gloves, and etc. Financial donations are also being accepted. For more information, contact Mitch Brown at mitchbrown1097@gmail.com. Madison County Courthouse and its related offices will be closed Monday, January 17th for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Offices will reopen at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, January the 18th. And my last report today is I just want to make the court aware. We've had many discussions about recruiting and retaining employees and the challenges that we're facing. And I want to make the court aware, and I also want to make our employees aware, department heads aware of what we're actually working on to try to tackle this issue. We've been struggling in many of our departments. I've heard from department heads, I've heard from elected officials about this challenge. As you all know, that government wages, hourly wages, have always been able to be a little lower due to the retirement system. The retirement system has always been really good, especially those that know they're in Tier 1. And as they've had to make changes to the retirement system, it's not as appealing, but yet our wages have had to stay low. And so now we're in a spot where we're more competing even with the private sector. I mean, when you drive down the bypass, and you see what, fast food restaurants are paying, and you see what factories are paying, and some of our wonderful industries that we recruited and what they're going to pay, it's very hard for us to compete when we don't have that incentive. And so hearing from department heads, hearing from elected officials, we thought that we might be able to put something together for the new budget year, but seeing the need, we are pushing that up. We are wanting to put out surveys, in which this is the main thing I want everybody to listen to, especially from an employee standpoint. We want to be proactive and not reactive in our decision-making. We don't want to just throw money at something if it's not what it needs. And so we are going to be putting out a survey to all employees, our elected officials, in the next week, because we're wanting to collect that data back so that we can see what drives our employees. What is their true need to want to be an employee with the Madison County Fiscal Court, Madison County government in general? We want to be strategic in the plan that we present to us as the governing body to make the decision on. We want to have the facts. This body has always looked at the facts, but there is a true need, and it might be something that we were going to have to speed up. So I want everybody to pay attention to their emails in the next coming week. Please take these surveys serious, department heads, elected officials. Please explain the importance of these surveys. Is going to give us good data so that we know what kind of employee packages that we're going to have to look at, what we're going to have to offer to potential employees and existing employees. So, and I'm off my soapbox. We will be presenting that. We're pushing to present that at our first meeting in February the 8th. So, comments from magistrates. Ben, start with you.
Yeah, first comment, I'd like to commend the road department and the work that they did during the past snow event that we had in Madison County. Thank you all. I got a lot of positive comments from folks in the district about the great work that Scott, you and your team did to keep the roads clear. There were some complaints about some of the state roads, but we'll talk about that on some other time. But I know that the county roads were in great shape, and thank you all for your hard work and dedication. I want to make a quick comment on the survey, and I'm glad that we're doing it because, and I hope that the department heads take this back, to the folks that you supervise and get them to do this. We can't do it we can't get good data without them, filling out the survey. And I think one thing that should also be noted is that this is completely anonymous, okay? This is not something that is a got you exercise for a supervisor or whatever, and I want them to feel free, and please do, if there are comments that can be made, to make them, because those help greatly in some of the decisions that we may be making on this, and to see what's going on in departments. I know I had a meeting with Judge Taylor last week, and some of the questions that I was, discussing with him was, one, is there any way that we can get this expedited? And two, thank you for doing that. And the third thing is we need participation. So please fill these things out, and please be honest. And again, it's completely anonymous. This is not a got you exercise, and it will go a long way in helping us formulate some decisions, because we would like to, when I was, I've been in the private sector for over 25 years, and I can tell you that sometimes the response rates were not very good in exercises like these, which is disappointing. But I always, looked at it as a manager. I wanted those comments. I wanted to see what people, were saying, about me. About my staff. So please fill these out. Please be honest and fill them out in a timely fashion, because the more that we have, the better data that we can collect and make decisions going forward. So thank you all.
Thanks, Ben. Big Raj.
Of course, like the rest of us, we appreciate what Scott and his crew did. I was telling the judge earlier in the week, I've never seen my county roads as clean as they were, as quick as they were. And you had to drive on a slick state road to get there. It was a problem this time, and I mean, it wasn't just one or two state roads, it was almost all of them. I don't know, I think it's just the timing of when they got out. Scott might be able to comment on that, but it's probably the timing of when they got out and it already froze, and it wouldn't scrape it up where we got out a little earlier, salted our roads, and they've done a great job. And I didn't drive all my roads. I probably drove 75% of them. Never turned down a one that had a hill that had any ice on it. I mean, it was just great. I didn't get any calls. I'm sure, you did on the one, but it's a state road that turns into a county road, and they couldn't make it up the state road to get on our county road. It was probably already cleared, you know. I'm going into my 20th year here, and I'm gonna try to comment on a different department every time if I can. But Glenna's been here as long as I have, and a little longer. But I've never went to her and asked her a question that she couldn't answer. She's always give us a heads up on this money here can't be used for this. A lot of people don't understand. They see in the paper where we got a $500,000 grant, but it just can't be spent on anything, you know. We can't pay our employees sometimes with that money, but they don't understand that. And Glenna keeps us on top of what we can and can't do. I've never heard from Frankfurt that we've ever had a problem with their money situation. And I think Glenna's a big part of that. That's all I got.
Thanks, Raj.
Yep.
John?
Judge, I want to apologize this morning for kind of being under the weather. I got out and went down and helped with the tornado incident 2 weekends ago and helped pick up and clean up a little bit in the rain. Seemed like I caught a little something, but I apologize this morning. Just thank all of our county employees. Thanks so much for the Union City community and all the individuals down there that got out and helped their neighbors. It was just unreal how much response that those people received. There was tremendous damage. I know one neighbor down there, a farmer, said his estimate was between $300,000 and $500,000 worth of damage on his property. So that's tremendous. And hopefully the insurance companies will cover most of that, but there's still a lot of cleanup. Still get out and help if you can. Take an afternoon and go down and help clean up and pick up some of the debris from some of the neighbors. Thanks, Scott. We had a horrendous snowstorm. It fell so quick that it was hard to keep everything up and going, but I spent one evening with Scott, and he was on the ball on the radio, loading trucks, and the road crew did a tremendous job, and I appreciate each and every one of those, and just want to say thank you to them.
Thanks, John. Tom?
And I certainly don't want to make comments today without commenting on a snow event. Scott, I received calls for people that were very pleased with how quick that their county roads were cleared off, and they wanted to relay that to you and to your people. Along with that, Judge, I want to just take opportunity and just provide a standing ovation to our county clerk, Kenny Barger. Thank you.
I've never had a one-man standing ovation.
You certainly deserve it.
Well, it might be my first standing ovation, so I just won't tell anybody about the one-man thing.
Kenny got out and drove a snow truck, for anybody that doesn't know that, this weekend. Kenny doesn't have to do that. That's not his job. He doesn't get paid to do that. He's our county clerk. But Kenny knew what the shortages were down in the road department and has a license and has the skills to do that and volunteered his time. Kenny didn't get paid for that. He volunteered his time to go out and do that. Those routes, and he drove a lot in my district, and those routes were exceptional. I had one hiccup. I've received a call on Friday night, and I called Scott, who called Kenny at 7 o'clock on Friday night after a long Thursday and a long Friday, and was straight out there, took a truck straight out there and rectified that one neighborhood. And I was out there on Saturday at noon, and that road was in great shape. It wasn't perfectly clear, but hey, it was clear. You could drive on it. But Kenny, thank you.
The only driver that screwed up his route.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's Oak Ridge Subdivision, Plantation Drive. It's on the sheet. I missed it. Drove by it several times. And when I got there, I had just backed the truck in the road barn. It wasn't even shut off yet. And the phone rung. It was Scott. And he said, Plantation Drive on your list? I said, yeah. He said, well, it ain't been touched. I said, you're exactly right, because it's on my list, and I didn't drive down it. So so I pulled the truck back out and salted it heavy, and I apologized to everybody in Plantation Drive. It's nobody's fault but mine that it got missed. But it won't happen again. But yeah, when I got there on Saturday, it looked like state road. What it looked like.
It looked good, Kenny.
It was a popsicle.
We appreciate that. And I know you'd already had a long day to begin with, but I thank you
That's
for
no problem at all. I'm
heading
glad,
back out there and taking care of those
I'm
folks.
glad to help, and I actually enjoyed it. I hadn't been out, I grew up in trucks and drove for my dad for years and really enjoyed being back out and and enjoyed helping. Really,
We appreciate your willingness to serve.
thank you.
Judge, the last thing I have is I just want to say, well, I have two more things. I'm going to stay on the snow just for a second. On my website, I put up the state's map and their response time. So the state's snow route map is posted up where you can take a look at it. And, you know, I understand that people live in, and I'll call it God's country. There are some beautiful places in Madison County. Unfortunately, there are some places in Madison County it's hard to get to. The state makes a determination when they go out and run their routes whether or not that it's safe for their drivers and their equipment to go in some places. They made a determination this time that there were some places on Poozy Ridge where they weren't going to take their trucks and didn't. I worked with Josh Bray, called Josh Bray and asked him, and he called the state, and we did get a truck out on on Friday late. Again, on Saturday, the call was made to them, and I even talked to Josh on Sunday. But the point of it is that there's times the state's priority, we all saw it. We saw it on the news. They plastered it everywhere. The interstate was an absolute wreck. It hit them, I'm not going to say it hit them by surprise because they did what they could do. But when you jackknife a semi somewhere, because the interstate's covered with ice, I mean, you have just delayed the whole process. But that interstate was a wreck, you know, and those trucks, those state workers, they worked a long time to get that interstate cleaned up. And then they start in on the secondary routes. Well, that's their B routes. And if you live on a C route, which is what Poozy Ridge, it just takes time for them to get there. And then they make the determination on whether that they can or cannot get a state truck down there. So at any rate, everyone that called, I appreciate those calls. I thank Josh Bray for going above and beyond to make those calls. He's in Frankfurt, but he was making calls as well to get those roads cleared, and they've done as good as they could do, Judge. So I appreciate that. Speaking of Frankfurt, the legislators are in session. The Kentucky Magistrates and Commissioners Association, I'm a major member of their legislative committee. So if you have a issue that you would like addressed to them, you can call our legislators straight. They would love to hear for you, and all of their phone numbers are posted on the state's LRC website, or you can call me. I'll be glad to relay that to those. I call them. I go over every bill that is there. I've done it ever since I've been in office. I make a recommendation to our legislators on things that I think we should support, things that I don't think that they should support, and we go from there. But feel free to call me, and if you need me at any time, I've said this over and over and over for the last 7 years. If you have a complaint, hey, that's part of it. If you have a thank you, that's part of it. You feel free to call me anytime, day or night, 859-200-9765. Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Tom. Counselor, you good? Kenny?
No, sir.
Judge, can I make one more comment?
Sure.
And, you know, again, Scott, thank you all for your work, but I also want to thank the Sheriff's Department and what they did. I know that scheduling during snow events is an issue. I know you were rolling folks and bumping people up early and bringing them in to work, you know, the accidents that were not only out on 75, but also out on, you know, within the county. And I want to thank, you know, you as well, Sheriff, and your staff for the great work that you all did as well during the snow event, because I know there was a lot of people. I was out on the roads. There was a lot of people that were in ditches and what have you, and I would assume that you all came to the rescue and helped them out. So I'd like you to pass along my thanks to your all staff as well. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man. Kenny, do you have anything?
Nope.
Sheriff?
No, sir. Thank you.
Steve?
Judge, I just want to report real quick on our jail numbers. Currently, we're at 473 that we are responsible for. 283 of those are in our jail facility. We have 140 out in about 8 other counties, and we have 50 on our home incarceration program. Jail business is good. It has not slowed down any. I do want to report that our staffing situation is dire. The COVID has bit us again. We currently have positive inmates, positive staff, and positive contractors. We're running skeleton crews. Anybody that does or needs to do business with us, be patient. We're doing the best we can.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Comments from department heads? Any department heads today? Comments from the audience? Seeing none, I need a motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Buckin,
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Our next fiscal court meeting will be January the 25th, 2022. It'll be right here in Berea. Again, our next fiscal court meeting will be January 25th, 2022, right here in Berea. It'll be at 9:30. We do need to keep an eye on COVID. Just as a reminder, to make sure that we don't need to continue holding our fiscal court meetings here. I know on our calendar, our yearly calendar, we just had it for the month of January. We're so appreciative of Mayor Fraley and Berea Council for allowing us to use their chambers where we can spread out, social distance a little better than we can in our fiscal courtroom. So just a reminder to my team, make sure that we recognize that at our next fiscal court meeting, because we'll have to change our venue so we don't have to call a special call meeting, okay? I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Call the roll.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Buckin,
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Appreciate you.